All right, I'm going to show you how to use a clipping mask in this image, in this video. So we're going to do a couple of things. First thing I want you to know, and this is important with the image trace, you'll notice that this image is using the shadows and the highlights. You know, it's a one color. But this is problematic if we switch the colors. So let's say I'm going to do a circle here. I'm going to change this to kind of a gray, and then I'm going to push it all the way behind it. So you can see that it works because this area here has to be the lighter value and this has to be the darker. But watch what happens when I switch them. So I'm going to make this a lighter value and this the darker value. You can see that that doesn't work. And so you got to be really careful when you're doing kind of these Pathfinder things, as well as your image trace, to realize what parts you're going to do and what kind of color background and value background it's going to go on. So if this were something where I needed to actually have it on a lighter background, I would have to have these shapes be the ones that were the solid color and the rest would be the opposite. So, and that sometimes takes a little bit of inverse and selections and other isolations in Photoshop before we do an image trace. So, but we'll show you this is just a way to kind of mix the light and the dark. So what I'm going to do is use that as then a way of cropping this out. So I've got this circle, this path, and then the image that we traced. So what I'm going to do now is copy this, and I'm going to paste it in place, and then I'm going to move it on the top. Okay, so you can see that I have the path on top, then the image, and then the other path there. So, but I'm going to change this top one. You can see that it's selected. I'm going to just change that to a change it to red with just a stroke. That way you can kind of see what's happening there. So what I'm going to do is use this top path to crop out or use a clipping, create a clipping mask, everything else underneath it. And so it's going to clip out these edges and make that work. So actually let's move both of those up a little bit. That way we have this bottom part. Maybe move it over a little bit. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. So again, I'm going to select that red stroked path. You can see that that's there. And we're going to use that as the clipping mask. So I just go to Object, Clipping Mask Make, and you can see what happened there. So it clipped out the group. And so what happened is that top layer, whatever that top object is, it's going to use those as the mask that's going to clip it out. So it creates that path to clip. So you can see what's happened there. So I can turn that off or select one or the other. You can see I can change the color of that if I want to. Depending on the value, it might make it different, but you can see that you can isolate those. Those function kind of like a group, so it's best to either select each individual object if you want to alter its color or other properties individually in the layer order, or use the direct selection tool as a way to isolate those colors. So you can kind of use that object that way. So, but this is a great way now that I can have a nice little button or something if I wanted to make that as a button, and then we could add type to it or other things like that. But that's a great way of using this clipping path as a way to crop out things. And we can also alter that shape too. If you want, you can zoom in on that, make it a little bit tighter or wider depending. So you can alter its shape as well. So it's a very flexible way of kind of cropping things and isolating things.